Now, the country has marked 25 years since the August 7, 1998 bomb attack on the United States Embassy in Nairobi. Survivors and families of those who perished in the attack are still pushing for compensation from the U.S. government. The event, which was held at the Bomb Blast Memorial Park, saw the lighting of candles and laying of wreaths in memory of those who died. 224 people perished and more than 4,000 people were injured. No government official turned up for the event, which was attended by several opposition leaders.
Survivors, relatives of those who perished and invited guests gathered to commemorate 25 years since the August 7, 1998 bomb blast. The flowers, the candles, and a moment of silence in memory of those who perished and whose names are now etched in stone at the Bomb Blast Memorial Park. In Washington, United States, Secretary of State Antony Blinken led a brief commemoration ceremony attended by Prudence Bushnell, who was the American ambassador to Kenya at the time of the bombing.
I would never have been able to face the people I face today, to have seen the pain, the sorrow, and the righteous anger of the families who lost, of survivors, victims, and many citizens in Nairobi, had I not known that I did my leadership best.
224 people died when terrorists bombed the U.S. Embassy at the junction of Moi and Haile Selassie Avenues on that fateful Friday at around 10:30 a.m. The attack was followed minutes later by another on the U.S. Embassy in Dar es Salaam, Tanzania. Over 4,000 people who were going about their business in the city were injured. Victims who now live with wounds that have changed their lives forever.
We pay tribute to the extraordinary courage, indeed the heroism, of so many. People who jumped into the breach, who staunched wounds, who pulled survivors from the rubble, who turned cars into ambulances.
25 silent survivors who were in their mother's wombs at the time of the attack, too, are suffering.
My name is Jean Bahati, Catherine Bwire's daughter, who lost her sight in the bomb blast and was on the 13th floor of Cooperative House. She was 7 months pregnant at the time of the bomb blast, and I was born 2 months later. My mother has never seen me.
This year's commemoration saw one issue echoed: compensation.
We need compensation for all the August victims.
Kenya took the bullet on behalf of the U.S. We cannot continue waiting for justice for the victims.
We are urging President Biden and the American government that they should hear the voice of the families of the victims 25 years later.
The time to bring closure is now.
The Senate Ad Hoc Committee has begun pushing for compensation of the Kenyan victims. American victims of the attack and most Nairobi embassy staff were compensated.
Our plea to the U.S. government is to work on the proposal to Congress to initiate amendment through the U.S. Victim of State-Sponsored Terrorist Act.
Where we have the challenge is that the victims of the Kenyan population cannot be compensated because the legal framework, I think, in America is actually not available.
For 25 years, the country has been commemorating the August 7th bomb attack, the first time that the event was being marked under the Kenya Kwanza administration, but for which no government official showed up. For the victims, the fight for compensation continues as they seek justice and closure. Rita Tinina, KTN News.
Just ahead, how the game of archery is transforming the lives of youth among warriors.